fill and stroke. So fill and stroke is going to be great for any design work. You're going to use this a lot. Fill obviously is going to be your fill color. You can change this with hue saturation, red, green, blue, CMYK for screen printers or other printers. You can also change the opacity and the level of blur, which is pretty cool. Makes for some interesting designs, and this is a vector image, just so you know, so this is not a JPEG. It's not going to be pixelated or be unscalable. And we also have gradient fills, which you can find by hitting F2. You can move that gradient around, and whatever node you select on, you can also change the color there. Select this one and change the color up there. And there's also a radial gradient if you want a circle. But we'll go ahead and stick to this fill, and then we'll move on to the stroke. Stroke is just a border that gets placed around the edge of the shape, and it will follow whatever shape you have. We'll go ahead and change the width. You can change what the line looks like, if there's dashes in there, or if it's made of dots. Join is going to be the corners. So if you want a rounded corner or a beveled corner or a mitered joint. The cap is going to be the same thing, except if the line is not joined at a corner. So here we'll look at the cap. It's on round. You could have flat, or this one's a little extended. And it actually follows that shape around rather than ending with that line. Another very important thing here is going to be the order. This is going to show whether the border or the stroke is on the outside of the object itself. So here we have the, looks like the border or the stroke is in front of the object, and we also can move it behind the object, and you can see it change there. This is showing the actual shape here. If you took the stroke off, that's what the shape actually looks like. But when you create a stroke, it creates it on both edges of that line. So if you have it in front, you'll see both edges. Make and edit fonts, it's a font editor, but you can just as simply go to fonts and type here and edit here at the top. So I don't use that too often, but it may be useful for you. You have Inkscape preferences, which are just going to be your options and your settings for your particular program. Document properties, we will take a look at that. So document properties is going to be about your page here. That's going to be Shift, Control, and D. So here you can change the size of your document, change the orientation. You can also change the background color if you're saving a graphic and you want a clear background. You can leave it clear, or you can add white. And you can add grids on here. You can do a lot of different things. It's basic. Just change it when you want a different PDF size, but otherwise it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to go to the design side and look at some of these tools and how do we get to them. F1 is going to always bring you back to the selection tool. So if you're typing or you're drawing, you can simply hit F1 and it'll bring you back to the selection tool. F2 is going to be how you control paths and nodes and how you edit them. To actually create a path or a node, you're going to hit Shift and F6. So that's going to be your main design tool here, creating shapes. And also if you click and drag, you can create rounded shapes, which can be useful for you. And once you're in here, again, F1 to select, and then F2 to edit those paths or those nodes themselves. And you can also use these bars here to straighten things out. We have the zoom tool, which has different zoom functions, and you can also drag a section that you want to zoom in on. Again, you can just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Measuring tool, this will help you get accurate degrees. I don't necessarily use it, but it can be useful. F4 and F5 are going to be how to create squares and circles. Most of your shapes are going to be similar to these. One thing about the squares and the circles, if you hit F2, you can make a rounded edge here. You can bring it all the way down to a circle if it was a 1-to-1 ratio, which this one is a rectangle, but you can curve those edges, and same here, you can actually turn that into a sort of a pie there if you want to make some kind of graph or design similar to that. We have stars and a polygon, which you can make a star, and then you can manipulate those shapes to create different patterns. These are very cool for mandalas or things like that. We can create spirals, which I don't really understand what that's for, but you can make spirals. You can draw freely, and this also can create vector shapes and can be filled, which is very cool for hand-drawn images. And if you have a tablet, this will be very useful for you, as well as the calligraphy, Control F6. And this you can use pen sensitivity with the tablet. You can change a lot of different things here, which is fun to play around with. Text is going to be T, and you simply drag and open a box and start typing. You can create a size and line spacing, things like that, font size, font name. And then we have the spray tool, which is very cool. Go ahead and create a small star here and take that stroke off. And the stars, say I want a bunch of these stars, so I'll go ahead and select that. Then I'll select the spray tool, Shift F3, and then I'll start spraying. And we'll go ahead and turn that amount down so you can see this a little better. Now these stars are coming out, and they are being rotated by this here. If you don't want them to rotate, they can all be the same. And the width of your marker here that you're spraying. So that can be very useful when you're adding grass or leaves or something that is similar but needs to be changed just slightly. Now we also have a fill tool, which is just clicking in an area and filling. Creating a gradient. This is going to be used if you don't want to go in here and go to fill gradient. You can simply click Control F1 and drag on an item that you have selected, and you're creating a gradient. And F7 is going to be pick colors for an image. This can also be selected right here. If you don't want to open that, you can hit F7, easy enough. A few last things, this top menu here. The width and height are going to be the size of your object in real life. So here this object is about 4:6. You can lock those ratios. X and Y is just where it is located to the document itself, and this starts at the bottom left corner if you need that information. This can also be rotated here, and it can be flipped horizontally or vertically, which you can't see there, but let's go ahead and we'll do this. There we go. Now we can see that this gets flipped vertically, and same goes for horizontally. Lowering and raising selections. This is all within a layer, so just understand that within a layer there can be many layers or orders of things, which I consider a z-index. So here you can take this object and you can move it down 1 by 1. Oh, put it on this side so you can see, or move it up 1 by 1, down 1 by 1, or you can simply move it all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. Well, that is it for today. That covers the basics of Inkscape here. So hopefully you have a good understanding of this program and can move around and make some simple images. And again, you can find this program for free at Inkscape.org or at DesignByTorres.com. So thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to leave us a like or a comment, and have a great day.